So some Senate Republicans were baffled by this tweet from the president, which stated that he has a reinvigorated interest in splitting the health care bill into two bills. If Republican senators are unable to pass what they're working on now, he wrote, they should immediately repeal and then replace at a later date. We know from talking to Senator Rand Paul here that he and the president have been talking.
I spoke with the president this afternoon, and he and I kind of came up with an idea that I think is really a breakthrough. And this would be to separate this into two bills.
So here's what the president said about this in the past.
And there's going to be a period, if you repeal it and before you replace it, when millions of people could lose.
We're going to do it simultaneously. It'll be just fine.
So you can see why this has caused a bit of consternation on the Hill. Joining me now, Chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, North Carolina Congressman Mark Meadows. Congressman, good to see you tonight. Welcome back to the story.
Good to see you. Thank you, Martha.
What do you think about that?
You know, really, when you look at where Senator Rand Paul is, and actually where the president has been, it's all about repealing and replacing. He's committed to do that. Perhaps what is missing is the fact that Senator Paul is talking about doing it with two separate vehicles. The president has tried to combine that with one. But whether you do it with two separate vehicles or one, as long as you have a long enough glide path, and right now in the bill that most senators voted on in 2015, that was a 2-year glide path that allowed us to work on a replacement plan to make sure that there is no American that goes uncovered. And so, you know, I think the president is very frustrated with the fact that the Senate is not delivering. But even now, as we speak, there's deliberations going on, CBO scores being taken to try to see if they can come to some conclusion.
So let me ask you, if the Senate were, it doesn't look like that it's possible, but if they were to split them up, of course the big fear is that then the replacement would never happen. A lot of people would be left in the lurch in the middle, and that Republicans would be blamed for that. Is this idea of splitting the bill something that would gain traction if it came back to the House in that forum with the Freedom Caucus? Start with your own group.
Yeah, with our own group, I can tell you our original attack was to actually do it in two separate bills. We said, why don't we put the same thing on President Trump's desk that we put on President Obama's desk, but he vetoed, and then go along with that. I can tell you that we're so close right now. We're 1 or 2 senators away from getting a deal. I'm hopeful that the next 48 hours brings some of them together. But if not, I do believe that if we separate that out, you'll get real strong support in the House, 218 votes, hopefully that 51 threshold in the Senate. But then it's incumbent upon us to make sure there's a replacement part. And could you attach it to a transportation bill, some other must-pass piece of legislation where you finally get some Democrats to help us? Chuck Schumer has said he's not going to help with anything, but perhaps when you put it with roads and bridges that are important to all of us, they'll change their tune.
Very interesting. Congressman, thank you very much. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Martha.